Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? People are saying no, but people are also saying, no, of course not, what are you talking about? Now, we just came to some pretty groundbreaking news that ABC had covered up the entire story for about 3 years. So, in a second, we're going to show you a clip of an anchor at ABC being caught in a hot mic in between one of these things. So in between the show, when I say ridiculous things that hopefully are not on these cameras and have been deleted, got caught basically saying, hey, we had all this evidence, and it went absolutely viral, and the media didn't cover it. So just so everyone knows what we're talking about, this is the video put out by Project Veritas yesterday for the hashtag Epstein cover-up. So let's run the...
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
That's some pretty damning stuff on ABC, which quashed the story. Remember, it didn't meet their editorial standards, as they're claiming. They kept investigating. So here we have a journalist, an anchor, saying they killed the story. They were threatened by the palace. They were threatened by Alan Dershowitz. They had Bill Clinton. And who else did they have that we just don't know? Who else do they have info on that she just didn't happen to mention in that one-time rant? So let's get into the obvious morality of this. By not reporting on this story, right? ABC claimed, oh, no one knows who Jeffrey Epstein is. It doesn't matter. Yeah, no one knows who Jeffrey Epstein is. And barely more people, no one really knows who I am. If you're watching, thank you. But let's just say, people in Moldova don't know who Daniel Boardman is. I'll give the Moldovans a pass on that. But if I ran a giant Moldovan pedophile ring, do you think Moldovan TV would have it? We don't really know who that is, but you know what? He is trafficking all our children in a pedophile island. You think pedophile island would draw enough attention. So I think that's ridiculous. Two, don't you want to stop the pedophile island? Isn't that why we get into journalism in the first place, is to fight bad people and do what's right? And when you learn about a massive pedophile ring, isn't the right thing to report on pedophile ring, to bring down pedophile ring? Isn't that the right thing to do? Now, ABC, maybe they were under threat from the palace, the Buckingham Palace, the royal family was considered, maybe the Clintons got it. Maybe there was just too many powerful people that got on them. They couldn't do it. But I kind of think ABC, because it is, ABC is part of Disney and ESPN, it's a big major thing. I think they kind of knew that they'd get hurt by this. I think they knew that if all the Epstein stuff comes to light, that some of the rich and powerful people going to Pedophile Island would be involved in ABC, ESPN, Disney now owns Marvel and all the Marvel properties, so they bought Fox too, right? There was something like the top 10 grossing movies last year all came out of the same company. It was Disney, right? Do you think for a second that maybe some people working at Disney might have been involved in Super Pedophile Island? Maybe. I think it's highly likely. I don't think they wanted that getting out. So this is ridiculous because Disney is the company that always wants to protect its image with the kids, right? Oh, we can't have blood and gore, right? If, we got to tone down the violence in the Avengers movie to make it more kid-friendly because it's now a Disney Marvel property, right? Because we got to protect the kids because our reputation is Ariel the Mermaid, the Lion King, Epstein Island, Pocahontas, we got to keep the thing. If you want to maintain this child-friendly image, you know what's really child-friendly? Destroying pedophile rings. You know what isn't a child-friendly image? Enabling pedophile rings. Because, hear me out here. Hear me out. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm just going to make a declarative statement. Pedophile rings are evil, and we should end them. I know, boom. So, okay, that's the pedophile ring. I think we're all on board on evil pedophile ring. Okay, let's drop that. There's a second aspect to this, which is, why is this not huge news in the mainstream trusted media sources that do their due diligence, except when Trump allegations or Kavanaugh allegations are involved, or kids wear a MAGA hat? Other than that, we're right there bringing you the news. So again, I watch the CBC every day to monitor it, to give you the worst of the CBC. Didn't mention it, not in the Chiron. Prince Andrew is technically prince of something in Canada. We still have a monarchy. And by the way, the worst part of the monarchy is when they come visit. It's just so goddamn boring. Oh, it's on TV all day, and you get some lady in Manitoba like, when I was younger, the Queen came to Manitoba, and my sister and I saw her right there 40 years ago. It's like, God, why is this on the news? But now the worst part about the royal family is Pedophile Island. Now it's actually Pedophile Island instead of my complaints about old boring ladies getting too excited about the Queen. So, okay. How can you not cover this? This is a major news media quashing a story about a pedophile island. How many kids would have been saved had we known about this 3 years earlier? We don't hundreds? Thousands? We don't know. And there's evidence. Also, they said there's evidence on Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew. Right? That's huge news. Huge. Right? Can we at least talk about that in the media? But no, instead, they try and either ignore the story and they try and destroy social media. So I've been talking about this for a while. And this is why Trudeau and somewhat the left-wing controlling authoritarians are so evil. And it's not just Pedophile Island, but this ties into it. We've been talking for a while now how Trudeau has tried to monopolize information through the media, right? He has bought the media. Well, he has CBC, which is government-owned anyway. Then the other mainstream outlets, the trusted news sources who don't think this is news. Because what's news about International Pedophile Island these days? They've been given $600 million over taxpayer money, so they've been bought and paid for, right? They've been thrown into the government teat, right? They'll be on a welfare cycle from the government. And he started to sue and take media organizations that don't agree with him to court. Right? Not only do they not get money, they get attacked by the government. And the other part of this is there's a whole other part of this. So we have we could talk about post-millennial and True North media and these media sources that are sort of together and infrastructure and incorporated, giving a different balanced point of view. And that's great, and that's fine. Nothing against them. But the bigger enemy, let's say, to the mainstream media is just you. Not even so much me, but you and me and social media. It's, Epstein memes over Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, right? This is how the Epstein story was brought to the public consciousness because it got tens of millions of views on Twitter. It became trending, right? The people can now force news into the public consciousness. We don't need these gatekeepers, and that's really dangerous to the gatekeepers. And it's also dangerous to authoritarians like Justin Trudeau who want to control the narrative. They understand that if you have free reign on Twitter and Facebook, this is like, it's in the States too. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are now attacking Facebook. Right? It needs to be broken up because they're panicked. Oh, Trump might advertise on Facebook. So can you dummies. But they're afraid, not of Trump. They're afraid that the freedom of information means a lack of control over information. And Bernie Sanders is a socialist totalitarian. He's a totalitarian at heart. He's a nice and friendly guy until you disagree with him. So this is what these people are trying to do. They're trying to make the case that we need to censor social media. And I saw that story last night. There's a story on the CBC about a MP. It was an Asian lady for the NDP. And there's talking about all the harassment they get on Twitter. And they even, okay, so we had a story about why it's bad to say mean things at politicians. Should we censor people speaking to politicians? This was actually the national broadcaster, the government media, was having a story about whether civilians should be openly free to criticize government. Say, anyone see a hot button? But the best part of the story is they had a panic button underneath people's desks for if they got too much social media harassment in the office. If they heard a mean word, they could just hit the panic button. I have no idea what happens if the panic button's hit. But this is the stuff they're pushing, and the reason they're pushing this, it's all connected, is to build the case that social media is kind of dangerous. It's dangerous. It fuels hate speech and hatred and the alt-right, and everyone's going to get on social media and come for you on social media, and then your kids will be cyberbullied. We have to do something. We have to break up these companies. We have to regulate. It's not about safety. It's not about safety. It's about control of information. It always has been and always will be. And the reason why they're pushing this now is because they realize they're losing the war to control the information. And that's why you're getting this push. So big tech companies who are probably trying to depress my content because it's a bunch of lefties at Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, they don't want to promote bad ideas. I'm sorry, but we are the ones who are actually fighting for your rights to exist as a company. And this is you reap what you sow here. Right? You keep pushing and propping up these radical leftists, and then they're going to come for you because they're radical leftists, which means they're totalitarian at heart. And Silicon Valley, the tech companies, they work off of freedom. They are inherently free market companies. Freedom of information. They are the ultimate tools of a democratic state. And that's why the totalitarian left is coming for them. And the fact that they don't see this is ironic to the extreme, but it's also dangerous. So, Facebook employee who is panicked over me talking right now, take a look in the mirror. Take a deep breath. See, who's actually trying to defend your company's right to exist? And who's trying to destroy your job? Also, Pedophile Island, bad. Just in case that's not clear, Island, good, pedophile, bad, Pedophile Island, really bad, pedophile anything bad, unless pedophile hunter. Yes, okay, I think we get it. Pedophiles, bad.